I'm here with a great friend and ally, Pastor Kirk Swaagh of the neighborhood church in Greenwich Village. And Kirk, you and I came to this very spot in Manhattan on an unforgettable day, only a couple of days after the attacks here on September the 11th. And in a minute, you're going to narrate that story of what happened when we came down here. But first, I want you to get a look at a nearby cemetery of St. Paul's Chapel, an historic Episcopal church here. This cemetery was filled with debris on the day that Kirk and I came down here. And you could see these ancient tombstones sprouting out of all that detritus. And it was just shocking. I had been here leading a Bible study. Kirk, I don't even know if you were aware of that. No. Just a few weeks before, and saw it as it is now, and to see computer monitors and papers and personal effects and shoes and purses, it was just stunning. And Kirk, this is where we entered ground zero, if you will. Yeah. And maybe you'll pick it up from there as we walk towards the site.
Yeah, we had come down from just a little few blocks back at where the police center was. Rob and I had gone to try to see if we could be of help. And we just found ourselves at an open door, and we just walked down Chambers Street and then ended up right here. And on the way, we crossed the paths with a couple of FBI guys, and they directed us. And we ended up here, and it was just a stunning sight. I mean, there was just not there what used to be.
And for you, this is your neighborhood. I mean, you live not far from here. You literally lived in the shadow of the towers. You saw them vividly out of your own apartment window.
Yeah.
So when you entered this and you saw that, what was the feeling?
Well, Rob, I tell you, it might sound really strange, but my response when I saw the pile of rubble was the same response I had when I had gone to the Grand Canyon for the first time. Not because there was a hole in the ground, but just because the incomprehensibility of what I was looking at. And he was staggered by it, and I really was. I was literally staggered by it. What is this?
It's hard to even articulate, but describe in words what we saw that day. I mean, you and I were together. We were essentially doing spontaneous volunteer chaplain work among the emergency personnel that were here, the police, the firefighters, the EMTs, the other rescue workers. When you looked out, what is it you saw?
Yeah. Well, it was indeed this incomprehensible pile of gray-brown rubble and twisted. There was nothing recognizable.
For me, it was otherworldly. It was like we had landed on another planet.
Right. And the only thing, there was some of the skin of the building, the outward skin, the decorative skin that was on it, and so there was this pile, this smoking pile, and then this beehive of activity. I mean, there was just people all over. And you and I had a chance to walk around to another part of the site and met some firefighters. Remember, from Riverside, California? It was really a blessing. I mean, they had come all the way here.
And in fact, I want you to tell people what we did there. We prayed with these folks, and it was really very touching.
Yeah, no, they seemed to be very grateful, didn't they? That, I mean, we had shown up and we were able to just pray with them. I mean, what do you pray at that moment? But that God be merciful and God help. They were still looking. They still had a hope that they would find something. We were here only just a few days after the event. But those fellows we had a chance to speak with, I mean, they were just, you could tell they were humbled. I mean, firefighters are go-getter guys. I mean, they were doing their work, but they were humbled by it, and boy, we felt that.
Now, that sort of spiritual reaching out continued beyond the site here, which incidentally, we're just beyond the fence of the area that is now the new official 9/11, the National 9/11 Memorial. You will see that after this weekend, because we'll be here leading a prayer service, the only prayer service that will occur here. We'll talk about that later with Reverend Kirk. But that reaching out that we saw in the faces of those emergency workers, those rescue workers, continued for you at your nearby church, at the neighborhood church here in Manhattan, just a stone's throw from where we are now. How did that look and feel?
Well, I mean, what it did, there was these spontaneous kind of altars that sprung up, of people putting candles out and lighting them, and flowers being laid and notes being written. Now you have to understand, this is the West Village. This is Greenwich Village. This kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Not known as the Bible Belt.
No, this is not the Bible Belt of anywhere. And so there were these things springing, and it struck me, how deeply the soul wants to believe that there's something larger than themselves.